Okay, people. So we have a new remake out. It is called The Wages of Fear. Right? This is from Julien Leclercq, written by Hamid Hlioua and Julien Leclercq. Right? So they've adapted it. It is produced by Laroque, Mikhail Guivagyan, and Julian Madon. Line produced by Philippe Gouze. Eric Serra handles the music. Wim Vaswigerhoven is on cinematography. Celine Guyenou edits the piece. Tom Darmstudbur and Azid Hamichi, production design. Pascal William is set decoration, and Emmanuel Yokovsky is costume design, with Sad Lakar and Hamdan Malika hair and makeup. Okay, so the cast, we have got Fred, played by Franck Gastambide, his brother Alex, played by Alban Lenoir. We've got Clara, played by Anna Girardot, her colleague Dibril, played by Bakary Diombera. There is Gautier, played by Sofiane Zermani. Anne Merchand from The Company, played by Astrid Whitnall. Alka, he's a colleague of Goofier. He's by Alka Matewa. There's Azia. I think Azia is Alex's wife, and she's played by Sarah Afchan, and Malia, their daughter, I believe, who's played by Gitia Birday. There's a load of other people, but I cannot pronounce their names. I think they're all in French, so makes it difficult. Now, the gist of the film is this: in the middle of the desert, near a refugee camp, an oil well catches fire, directly threatening the lives of the population. Dispatching experts to the site, the company operating the well realizes it has only one solution to avert the catastrophe: detonate the oil well with nitroglycerin within 24 hours. Against a large sum of money, a powerhouse team is then sent 800 kilometers away to transport 200 kilograms of explosives in 2 trucks. The team now has less than 20 hours to reach the oil well, 20 hours to traverse hostile zones controlled by armed rebels, cross minefields, and drive 2 trucks loaded with nitroglycerin over rough terrain. The race against the clock has begun. Oh no. So this is actually a remake of a 1953 film of the same name by Henri-Georges Clouzot, who then co-wrote it with Germain Geronimi, and they adapted a 1950 book of the same name by Georges Arnaud. Right, so there's a lot of adaptations going on with this. Now, I think in both films, you have people transporting nitroglycerin. In the original, they're not brothers, right? There's just a group of people who are trapped in this town, and the oil company is corrupt, and they ask them to transport. Right, that's what it says on Wikipedia anyway. I haven't seen the film. Right, in this new one, we have two brothers. And I think they've updated it, right? They've thrown in some different things because supposedly in the first film, a lot of the shit that happens to these people in this one, there's no record of that, right? So this film, right? I feel, right? I feel it is for those who enjoy, right, the modern crazy action films, right? I think if you're a big fan of a lot of those, you could get behind this. And when I say the modern action films, people, I'm talking Fast and the Furious, right? Those type of things. If that is your bag, right? If you're a fan of that, if you're a fan of stuff like Code 8, right? If you're a fan of stuff like 60 Minutes, that gosh, what was that? I think that was German, right? Or it might have been French. Actually, it could have been Polish. We looked at it a few weeks back, right? But if they're your thing, then Wages of Fear could work for you. I say that because we have a lot of events that don't necessarily mean anything. Like we have these professionals who are meant to be good at their jobs and, understand the lay of the land, but not taking any sort of precautions because there's this backstory between these brothers, right? Backstory between, because obviously there's got to be animosity, there's got to be something there. And the back, you're just like, wait, this whole backstory is just dumb, right? It is, Fred is a bodyguard, but he's doesn't seem to do a very good job. Not very good job at looking at the potential threats and issues, and then walking into stupid situations, So we have that. We have this relationship, which, why is it there? What's the point of it? There's a sex scene at the beginning, which again, you're just like, why? Like, I don't, like, it has no real attachment to the film. And we've got these aid workers who are just like putting their lives at risk and all of this. And then it leads to this mission to go and get this nitroglycerin, right? So supposedly we need 100 kilograms. We need 100 kilograms of this stuff. So, they're like, oh, if something goes wrong, let's bring double the amount, which I understand. I get that. Though, I'm bringing more. Right? If you're putting 100 in each friggin' van, why not put 110? Yeah, just to give yourself that little bit, right? Now, I don't know what is meant to happen if it's slightly under. Don't know. But we're in these trucks, and when you consider, okay, you've got to drive, I think it's like 500 miles or something like that, right? It's a race against time. Race against time. Got to go all this way. Now, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of precaution being taken. It's kind of bonkers. Right? So we just got all of this stuff happening, right? These subplots and things, this thing with the brothers. Now the brothers are together and they've got to go and do this thing. And yeah, so there's all manner of stuff going down. But again, it doesn't seem like a whole load of precautions have been taken, right? Or looking at the potential scenarios. There's this whole situation with landmines, and it's just like, this ain't Hurt Locker. This ain't Hurt Locker. What we're seeing right now, this is just ridiculous. You know what I mean? So we have that, which makes no sense. There's pretty little when it comes to checking, right, the nitroglycerin. You think traveling, you're going over these rocky terrain, avoiding mines and other things. You'd be like, right, let's check. Let's make sure this shit's okay. So we have this. There's this twist in the film, which, again, it seems very dumb, right? It seems very dumb because you just think, why at that point? Why at that point? That's all I'm going to say, you know? And then the conclusion of that whole thing, again, you're scratching your head. You're scratching your head. At the end of the film, it's another odd one. It feels like they put themselves in these situations. They're like, how can we move it along? Let's have the person do this, or let's have this happen, and let's do this. And you're just like, I don't feel that could happen in this manner, or that's not gonna, or what does that mean? What's the emotional impact on the viewer if we do this thing? Right. So yeah, it's just a bit messy, man. It's just a bit messy. Supposedly the original is meant to be a classic. I've not watched it, so I have no clue. Right? I don't like throwing those things around. Because sometimes people call things classic, and you're just like, that ain't a classic, man. What are you talking about? You know? But yeah, if you like those mindless action films, which don't really make any sense, then the Wages of Fear could very well work for you. If you want a thinking man's action flick, or even something like John Wick, which is ridiculous, but it's a lot of fucking fun, right? This ain't that. It's not that. So yeah, you have to kind of go, what am I looking for tonight? What am I looking for? What have I liked in the past? Because that is the important thing when deciding, is this for you? Everything is just mid, really. Like the framing of scenes. There's like things can happen. You're just like, why use that? That's a weird angle, right? That doesn't really show us much. That doesn't make any sense. The acting, I don't know. Like this, because it's a French Netflix film, right? And obviously, so it's dubbed in English. Now, it might play better in French. That it might come across a bit better because, yeah, the acting wise, it's not overly convincing. We don't really believe any of these relationships or anything like that, the fear or anything. But again, it depends. What do you want, people? What are you looking for? If you like a European action film, then The Wages of Fear, I'd say, would be for you. If if you don't like that, right? If you're not a fan of the fast films, 60 minutes, all of that jazz, probably not your thing. Okay, it's on Netflix, so do what you will.